Welcome to Influential Entrepreneurs, bringing you interviews with elite business leaders and experts, sharing tips and strategies for elevating your business to the next level. Here's your host, Mike Saunders.
Hello and welcome to this episode of Influential Entrepreneurs. This is Mike Saunders, the Authority Positioning Coach. Today we have with us Dave Finberg, who's the founder of Peaks Digital Marketing. Dave, welcome to the program.
Hey, thanks so much for having me, Mike.
You're welcome. So, hey, I am excited to talk to you because all things marketing is what I love, and digital marketing is where it's at, of course. So give us a little bit of background on yourself, and then what led you to start a digital marketing firm?
Certainly. So, got in the industry actually as a younger child. When I was 6, 7, 8 years old, my dad put me in front of a computer and started building websites at the age of 8, 9 years old, and would build them for friends and family, and learn for some of you who remember dial-up, right? They had GeoCities and Angel Fire, like these older kind of free platforms that you could make websites on, and that's really how I dipped my toe in the water, so to speak, of digital marketing, getting started. Where this evolution and where this journey is led me is, obviously starting an SEO company that, really hits on some of the more cutting edge kind of principles of digital marketing. And, where we basically started was, I'd worked for a smaller startup back in Northern Virginia, which is, where me and my family are from. And was introduced into kind of like the content marketing angle of SEO and how your content, basically impacts what kind of keywords you rank for and how visible your website is. And, started as a content manager and, kind of worked my way up into more of a digital manager. And, over the journey of that endeavor, learned a lot, met a lot of great people, and ultimately decided that it was time to open up my own firm, just specializing in those kinds of content, websites, and SEO kind of angles. And so, what led me to this was really a love for computers, a love for helping people, and kind of understanding the complexities of the technical side of SEO and marrying that with the more traditional kind of marketing, content marketing and, email marketing, kind of traditional, angles and avenues that haven't necessarily changed as much, and marrying that together to create, an exceptional kind of product that people can really benefit from in today's online age.
Well, I think the key is today's online age and digital, because gone are the days. I interviewed this one person about 2 years ago that said it's interesting when and he was talking about his marketing plan. He goes, back in the day, we would spend one day on our entire year marketing plan. And he goes, you want to know what it was? I'm like, yeah. And he goes, we would do one thing. We would call the Yellow Pages rep in, and we would sit down and tweak our ad for the year, and we'd pay the money and wave at them, and that's it. And back in the day, that's what it would take, and that's all it would take. And today, people are like, yellow what? And you cannot rely on print. Now, depending on your industry, there's maybe some elements on some print or some things like that, but digital is where it's at. So mobile, digital, search, all of those things. So I'm excited to talk to you about that. And I would like to say, okay, let's start off with the question, what are some search engine optimization things that local businesses should keep in mind? And then I want to get into a question that I think a lot of people wonder these days or today, which is how does mobile integrate in with that? And then further deeper into that is how does voice activated search integrate in with that? So let's have a good time.
I can't wait. Let's do it.
So tell me about.
So to answer.
The first question is just what should a business owner be thinking of when they go SEO? I had someone quote me $10,000 a day, or just high rates. What do they need to watch out for?
So SEO can be intimidating, and there's a lot of what we call snake oil salesmen, and there's a lot of great agencies out there too that may be overkill for a local business. And so things to watch out for with respect to SEO are getting into a monthly contract before you're ready, right? And so there's many different elements that go into a successful campaign. And at a high level, there's 2 or 3 main levers of things that we can control as business owners, right? The content of the website, the design of the website, and the reputation of the website. And so, I would encourage everyone listening today to really approach SEO from an angle of it starts with a strategy, it starts with a solid foundation. And far too often do I see hardworking, honest business owners being sold into, as you said, like maybe it's not a 10K contract, or maybe it's $2,500 a month, or $3,000 a month, or $1,500 a month, right? And so, thinking about SEO as almost like a snowball effect, right? You've got to start with a nice foundation in order to build more momentum and really get rolling. And so, a lot of people think, okay, well, I need SEO. I'm just going to go call someone and I'm going to get a quote. And in some cases, the feedback that I've got from clients is it can feel like gambling, right? They're like, I know I need it. These guys have great reviews. Let's just do it, right? And what ends up happening is, it doesn't actually come to fruition as quickly, or perhaps they're getting the wrong types of leads. And due to the fact that SEO is more of a marathon than a sprint, right, you don't start to see some of the issues until later on in the campaign. And so what I would encourage anyone listening to do is really identify, like, hey, is my website ready? Do we have the right content? Do we have the right design? Do we have a solid foundation that is ready for leads, right? We don't just want to add new leads to the top of the funnel if the site isn't converting. We want to have that, best-in-class shot of a high conversion rate with the right types of clients, and ensuring that your content speaks to their pain points, ensuring that we've, really harped on the features, benefits that people are looking for when they're searching for your product and service, and they know about your differentiators, right? That's half the battle. I don't even recommend starting any link building or, there's all of these kind of buzzwords in the industry. It starts with the foundation. So do you have a great website? Do you have good content? Do you have an experience that's memorable, that conveys the value of your brand? And then from there, it's a great pivot to then start, shopping around for firms. And of course, there's some firms that do both, right, where you could get a website done first, and then kind of lean more heavily into the SEO or the lead generation piece after that site is ready to accept leads, so to speak.
You bring up an interesting point too about, I picked someone that has some good reviews. And secondly, you said the foundation of your website. Well, you need to have some good, visual, and your website needs to not be cluttered, because when people come there, they don't want to just be repelled. But here's something else. If you don't have a good reputation, you need to have someone that helps you with good reviews. And if you have bad reviews, but then you do some search engine optimization, people are going to see those side by side, and then they're going to trust the reviews. That social proof is so huge. So it doesn't matter if you're number 1, 2, 3, 4. If you have bad reviews, that's really detrimental. So along the same lines as making sure your website is quick and optimized and all these things, get those reviews handled. But talk a little bit more about the aspect about when you found the firm that you like, and that's wonderful. You now have content marketing. Well, that's an important piece, because Google needs to see fresh and relevant content. Yeah. How do you make sure that you're putting the right content on your website so that, your readers care, but also Google cares?
That's a fantastic question. Far too often we see that there are, we're focused on the specifics of the campaign. Like, hey, you guys do content? Yep. Hey, can you do a blog for us? Great. Right. Does the content really speak to the user, right? And so making sure that respective agency or potential partner has relevant experience, or at least the talent to be able to properly convey that content in a way that promotes more of a thought leadership, right? Like, you want to be the source of water in the desert. You don't want them to get over there and see like a gross, yucky puddle, even though it kind of looks like water, right? When they get deeper into it, they're like, oh, this isn't what I wanted, right? So it's a double-edged sword, right? Of there are ways that you can, promote content, and syndicating fresh and relevant content is necessary. On the reverse end, we want to make sure that we're syndicating the right content. as users visit that content, Google's collecting user metrics. Your reputation of your brand is built into that content. And if, many business owners aren't the ones writing it, right? And so they have, their checks and balances, like, do they do a content interview? Do they have experience in your niche? Perhaps they can send you some examples of blog content that they've written, and inherently they should have some success stories of blogs hitting the first page and ranking number one or ranking, in that top 3. And so, just having the skills is great. From there, it's making sure that you're not sabotaging your brand with content that, let's say it ranks, but isn't accurate or doesn't really appeal to the industry in a way that a thought leader would, the right angles or the right kind of topics, right? Is it going to be obvious that you're an expert, or is it obvious that this is more of an SEO article? And over time, right, the people that write purely SEO articles, or God forbid, you hire a firm that, maybe has some experience in an industry that the content just doesn't add up, you end up actually, again, it's more of a double-edged sword where can be detrimental, right? To just take kind of almost like an action bias of let's get some content out. And then, your user base says, wow, these guys are generalists, or they really don't know like what my pain points are. They're really not using the right language that, industry language or acronyms or things that I would expect to hear from an expert. So not everyone's going to be an expert in every single niche, and just do your due diligence and homework in terms of, what that content looks like, and making sure that if, there's a process for you to properly convey and almost download, when we do a content interview at Peaks, right, we're speaking with owners or key decision makers or key influencers within that business to really uncover and understand, what the value is in terms of topics and questions and things that we can expand on, so that there's a little bit of a more synergy than just kind of looking at what everyone else is doing or looking at the market and making a generalization. You really want to have someone that's intimately aware of your business and your clients and how those pain points, desires, and frustrations kind of play into their searching and what kind of questions and answers they're really looking for.
Yeah, and I think we could probably go 4 hours deep on this question or this content, but way back in the day, and you're probably at an age where you would need to Google this and look back, because you're not old enough to remember this, I'm sure. But back when SEO first started, the keyword stuffing was a thing, and you would just put in like the alt tags or the description of the page, 498 billion trillion keywords, and Google sees it and ranks it high, and then of course all these updates, and now you have to be smart. It has to be really well oiled in contents where that it has to be relevant, all the things you're talking about. What I would like to ask you is this. A business owner or an entrepreneur, if you decided to really bone up on and polish up your knowledge of search engine optimization on page and off page, and again, many people might not realize, it's off page, which is what Google sees, and backlinks and all these things, but it's on page too, because you can't just have a page that says home. You need to let Google know, oh, this is the home page and maybe the title. But where do you see search engine optimization going, so that business owners can say, okay, I don't know whether I can do it myself, but I at least want to understand it so that the company I hire, I'm tracking along with them?
100%. So where the industry has shifted and where it's headed is towards this model of what they call EAT: expertise, authoritativeness, and trust.
Wow.
And so, as you said before, right, you can simply, back in the day it was, let's put some keywords, let's, add some headings in, and just technically optimizing the article so that algorithms understand it. Where as algorithms get smarter, they're actually looking more at does this actually satisfy the user's request, right? And what kind of main content and supporting content do you have that correlates with that expertise? And so, keywords are more like the icing on the cake, where they used to be more of, 15 years ago, they were more of the cake, and now they're just the icing, right? And so you can't fake the funk anymore, right? You actually have to have quality articles, right, that are written by experts who understand your industry, coming from a trustworthy source, right? That kind of goes back to your reviews and your reputation and the people, even down to the people you have on your team, right? If you're, let's say, a medical business, right, they would expect to see doctors and different, licenses and degrees that may help influence the weight of that content, or research and studies by Harvard or other reputable organizations should be referenced in your articles, right? It's more than just touching on the right terms that from an algorithmic perspective will help you rank. After you've kind of identified that, which again is more of the icing, you're really looking at how are we conveying our expertise, trust, and authoritativeness. And what that, to dive one step deeper without going too far is, if you are, let's say Brazilian, I don't know if we want to do like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or medical business, doesn't matter. Let's say you're a medical business, right? And you help, treat people for depression, or you help, treat people for anxiety. What Google is going to expect is that you have a depression page, you have a home page that conveys your team, your expertise, the process, are using, what kind of treatments you use, all of those things. And then your supporting content would almost be like blogs around those topics. So, one great method to think about is, what kind of content goes hand in hand with these services. So someone might ask, well, what do I, if it's a at-home treatment, what do I need to get started on treatment, or how can I help identify, like, if I have depression, or what should be the next steps for bipolar or bipolar depression, right? There's all of these different kind of queries that people have in the context of the supporting content. So thinking about it as, okay, we're a treatment center, we are, a psychiatrist or some sort of local business, right, that offers a particular service. What are the top 5 to 10 questions that people ask you about that service? And how can we blog and not only help digitize the sales process, but also give people some great discovery content? And in turn, what that's designed to do, Google's really just designed to promote high trust, experiences for users. So, if you've got a great website, you've got great content, you're really harping on the questions and answers that people are searching for, whether they're in the buying phase or the discovery phase, you'll win. And that is inherently what we do here at Peaks, which is, yes, we can add keywords, we can add in the core high level, more obvious kind of sales copy or, educational copy that helps get people through the sales process. What about the people that aren't ready to buy it? Are we properly positioning them? Are we really experts? If we're really experts, Google's expecting to see supporting content as well, right? So it's really how comprehensively do we cover it? How well do we know the industry? How well are we speaking to those pain points? And then, there's a lot of strategy that goes into that, right? You can uncover certain questions and keywords and things that will help guide your strategy to the best pieces of content and to some of that low-hanging fruit, while still being able to plan for around the bend as you grow, right? And really building out both that main and supporting content and making sure that you've got the right trust signals and expertise behind it, so that that Google, will promote that well-engineered content.
100%. And of course, like we both said, boy, we could have gone really, really deep on all kinds of things, but you really hit some high level points on content and making sure you're creating the right pages and content for your audience, because when you do that, Google rewards it. And so in reality, you're writing for Google and your audience benefits, or you're writing for your audience and then Google rewards it. Either way you look at it, you want to make sure you are treating your website like you would like to be consuming information about your topic. So if anyone is interested in learning more about your service, maybe picking up some good learning material, what's the best way that they can reach out and connect with you guys, Dave?
The best way to reach us would be through, you can visit www.peaksdigitalmarketing.com. And we actually have a free blog optimization and landing page optimization guide to help business owners get, the most out of their content, write it in a way that really helps them get some more visibility. So we'll pop that link in the description or something along those lines. But it's www.peaksdigitalmarketing.com/podcast is where you download that guide, and feel free to reach out with any questions.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for offering that and also for coming on. It was a pleasure talking with you today.
Hey, my pleasure. Thanks so much, and looking forward to speaking with you next time, Mike.
You've been listening to Influential Entrepreneurs with Mike Saunders. To learn more about the resources mentioned on today's show or listen to past episodes, visit www.influentialentrepreneursradio.com.